So this is me, and that is Manoa. He's the head boy of 8th grade at the Donahoe Elementary School and someone who I would consider a friend. Manoa, along with his friends, his family, his peers, and his teachers, changed my life from the moment I met them. Last year, I was afforded an amazing opportunity to travel to the South Pacific. There, I spent a few weeks in the island nation of Fiji, the majority of my time spent on a smaller natively inhabited island called Gamea in a village named Togo. Togo was like no place I had ever been before. To get there, I first flew from here to Chicago to California, and then an 11-hour flight to Viti Levu, which is the main island of Fiji, then a puddle hopper to Taveuni, the 3rd largest island, and after that, a trip on one of the village's tiny little fishing boats to the island that would become my home for the next few weeks. Little did I know then, but it would hold a place in my heart forever. So Togo is one of 6 villages located around the island. To get to any of the other ones, you have to take a boat. It's extremely isolated. Fiji has resisted modernization and westernization extremely well, and Togo shows few signs of the world that we're used to. There's 1 computer in the school, and only a handful of adults own cell phones. I saw 1 TV the entire time I was there. I made so many incredible memories in Fiji, and I've held on to them through pictures and videos, journal entries I wrote, but there was one moment in particular that I didn't record anywhere. But I don't think I'll ever forget it. It was an afternoon just like any other in Togo. Between the various projects I was working on while there, I had a lot of downtime where I just got to play and chill with all the kids in the village, and it was by far my favorite part. One afternoon, in the midst of a game of Duck, Duck, Goose, the kids there don't have Xbox, PlayStations, Netflix, or tablets, so they spend essentially all of their time outside playing with each other. A boy came up to me. He looked down at my feet, looked back up at me, and asked, "How many shoes do you have?" I thought about it for a second, and I answered, 4. I had the pair of shoes I had worn on the plane, a pair of light water shoes for getting in and out of the boats at low tide, a pair of work boots for the construction site, and then a pair of flip-flops I just used to walk around the village and down to the beach. 4 pairs, simple enough. They had all fit into my luggage, and I remember even considering that I should bring more. And that little boy, his eyes wide, wide open, looked back up at me and said, "Wow, that's a lot of shoes." And don't get me wrong, this kid wasn't neglected or uncared for. He just had no concept of what it was like to need more than 4 pairs of shoes or 4 pairs of shoes. It was just unfathomable to him. So I thought a lot about that conversation since I've got home, and when I was writing this and coming up with what to say today, I wandered around my house, and I'm guessing you can all probably guess what the next number is now. I currently own 21 pairs of shoes, so that is a lot of shoes. So after I left Togo, I spent a few more days on the main islands of Fiji, and while wandering around there, I couldn't help but wonder, why is everyone here so happy? Fiji itself is known as one of the happiest countries in the world, but the people of Togo had more joy in them than anyone I'd ever met before. Always smiling, laughing, dancing, giving, and offering, even though by most people's standards, they didn't have that much to give. Their houses are made from pieces of scrap wood and metal. They hang all their clothes on lines, and they smile every single day. They have no hot water to shower with, and that's if the water pressure decides to work that day. I took many, many bucket showers while I was there. The few hours of electricity in the village come from energy captured in solar panels, and whenever the electricity is on, the generator is on. The noise of it making sure that you're always aware of the tiny little miracle that is light at night. The people of Togo are also incredibly selfless and have this amazing sense of community. The women there watch each other's children during the day, and the men fish for everyone in the village. While I stayed there, the women even took turns coming to our house so we could enjoy home-cooked Fijian meals every single day. So my question to you and to myself was, what do we have to learn from the people who live here, who have so much less than we take for granted every day? And I think the answer to that is gratitude. They're so grateful for every little thing that they have. One of the biggest problems that I see with gratitude is that people place it on, I like to call it the moving timeline of happiness. So you have something that you think is going to make you happy in the future, and you just put your happiness on that. Like, I hear everyday example, people say, once I get out of high school, then I'll be happy, or when I get to college, then I'll be happy. You know, I'm not happy with where I live now. When I can move or when I can travel, that's when I'll be happy. But what happens when you get out of high school or when you get to college or when you finally move? Are you actually going to be happy? I mean, probably not, because now you want something else. Now that's not the thing you desire anymore. Now you want the next best thing. So for me, it's about, you know, placing contentment not on external factors, but on internal factors. How can you appreciate what's to come if you can't appreciate what you already have? For myself, I see it as contentment. Yeah, there are things I recognize that I don't have, things that I recognize I want, that I need. In today's consumer-driven world, this notion of the people who have the less being, that did not make any grammatical sense, people who have less being the most grateful doesn't always make sense in today's consumer-driven world, where people who open our phones and our magazines and think, I need this, who walk past storefronts and say, I want that. Through my work in Fiji, also my work in orphanages and hospitals in Guatemala, and things I've done with the HFL Sister Cities Youth Group and organizations around Rochester, like Open Door Mission, the International Academy, and the Ronald McDonald House, have shown me that it's true that these people who have less are often the most grateful because they're truly the most thankful for what they have. They recognize everything that they have and they give thanks for it. For myself, I see happiness and gratitude as contentment. I recognize that I don't have these things, but it's okay because I'm fine without them. In fact, I'm happy without them. And this isn't to say that you shouldn't have hopes and dreams and aspirations. Just don't place your whole world on them. I used to think, if I can achieve this, then I'll be happy. But once I achieved that, I just wanted to achieve something else, and this, and oh yeah, that. And I'm gonna achieve those things, but if I can't, my whole world isn't gonna come crashing down. And when I do, I still have something to look forward to. I'll be content with where I am, and I'll be content as I work towards a new goal of mine. So I guess in summarization of all of this, I see happiness as just the ultimate goal in life, like where you can go, where you can be. Everyone wants to be happy. In today's divided world, one thing we can all agree upon is happiness. I've never met someone who didn't want to be happy. And I've realized that simply by choosing which things to honor in my life, which things to place value in, I have the power to make myself happy. And that means that everything that I've been searching for, everything that I've been seeking, was already inside of me, that I am enough. And that goes for everyone sitting here. You are enough. Everything that you've been looking for is already within you. Imagine if everybody felt this way, if everybody believed that they are truly enough, that they can decide what they want and make it happen, that they can find their passion and pursue it relentlessly. I found an incredible sense of purpose throughout the last year as I found a way to combine two of my biggest desires. I found an incredible sense of contentment through doing what I love, and one of those things is service. My parents raised me to always be aware of the world that I live in and what I can do to help it. So when I was little, we went on hikes and picked up trash, volunteered, did 5Ks and walks to raise money, baked and cooked for our neighbors who had tragedy in their families. And yeah, those acts are small, but they're a part of who I am today. And I've also been always incredibly drawn to traveling. I see the world as this amazing and mystical place, and I want to explore all of it. Through combining these two loves of mine in around the past year or so, I found that the thing I'm most passionate about is human rights, and I hope to continue delving deeper into this issue as I study community and international development at the University of Vermont next fall. I hope to continue to do what I love and only grow my heart towards the world and its people. Optimism is defined as having hope for the future and believing that that future holds possibilities. It's about believing that what you are building is better than what exists today. I believe this. Do you? Thank you.